This podcast was recorded on Ramangeri land. Always was, always will be Aboriginal land.
Hello and welcome to episode 2 of Fleurieu Footy podcast. I'm your host, Steve Costello. Thanks for joining us. On today's program, we'll go through round 11 of the men's comp, including the A grade, the B grade, the Senior Colts and the Junior Colts. And then we'll go through the women's comp, and that will be the A grade and the under 17s. Later on in the program, we've got a couple of special guests for you. One of them is Dale Cuthbert from the Port Elliot Football Club, and the other one is Max Barnes from the Strathalbyn Football Club. We will ask them a few hard-hitting questions, and then we'll give them the quiz afterwards, and hopefully they score okay. We'll wait and see. So that's the program that we're going to do today. Thanks for joining us. Let's go through the results from round 11, and we'll start with the A grade. So the first game we'll look at is Port Elliot played Victor Harbor. Victor Harbor were victors there, 14 goals, 10.94 to Port Elliot, 9 goals, 8.62. So a pretty competitive game there, I reckon, up until three-quarter time. Then Victor kicked away a bit, but, it wasn't a blowout. The next game, Strathalbyn played Wollonga at Strathalbyn. Final score, Strath 10 goal 15.75 to Wollonga 8 goal 8.56. You could probably say that Wollonga were favourites for that game, so well done to Strathalbyn. The next game is Langhorne Creek defeated Encounter Bay. Langhorne Creek 15 goals, 103 to Encounter Bay, 7 goals, 7.49. And once again, you probably would have had Encounter Bay as favourites there, but credit to Langhorne Creek. I was at that game and they were pretty ferocious around the footy and got their hands on it first and converted. The next game, McLaren Vale defeated Yankalilla. McLaren Vale 19 goals, 15, 129 to Yankalilla 1 goal, 1-7. So a bit of a blowout there. And the last game is Maiponga Selix defeated Mount Compass. Maiponga Selix 7 goals, 11.53 to Mount Compass 3 goals, 6.24. A fairly tight tussle there. Is that Mount Compass gone? I'm not 100% sure on that. But there is a bit of competition coming from the sides outside the top 5. So we'll just go through the Premiership Table. You've got McLaren Vale undefeated on top of the table with 22 points. Next is Maiponga on 16 points, the same as Wollonga in third on 16 points. Then you've got Encounter Bay in fourth on 14 points. And then a little bit of a logjam from a couple of sides. Strathalbyn and Victor are both on 12. Langhorne Creek on 10. Mount Compass on 6. Yankalilla on 2. And Port Elliot yet to notch up a victory. But from their form on the weekend, you would suggest that that's not too far away. So, the sides underneath are putting some pressure on the sides above, which is great for the competition. And there's some pretty good games coming up this weekend. So stay tuned. The footy fanatics will be all over that at the end of the week. If you look at the leading goal kickers, you've got from the A grade, Ben Simmons from Strathalbyn's on 38, Sam Basham from Victor Harbor on 36, James Grimley from McLaren Vale on 36, Nick Marshall from Encounter Bay on 32, Matthew Merritt from McLaren Vale and Jake Tarker from Encounter Bay, both on 31. And just a bit of a shout out to Sam Basham. He's kicked goals in every game he's played so far up to round 11. So that's a fantastic effort. Congratulations, Sam. Well done. Look forward to this weekend. Exciting times in the GSFL in the A grade. So doing the B grade results from round 11, Victor Harbor defeated Gould Port Elliot. Victor Harbor 18 goals 16, 124 to Gould Port Elliot 1 goal 6. So a pretty convincing win there from Victor. The Strathalbyn Roosters took on Wollonga. Wollonga ran out winners there. 15 goals 13, 103 to Strath 4 goal 4, 28. The next game was a pretty tight tussle between Langhorne Creek and Encounter Bay. Langhorne Creek ran out winners 8 goals 8, 56 to Encounter Bay 8 goal 3, 51. The next game saw McLaren Vale versus Yankalilla, and McLaren Vale won that quite convincingly. 15 goals 10, 100 to 2 goal 4, 16. And the last game saw my Ponga Selix take on Mount Compass. My Ponga Selix also won that quite convincingly. 21 goals 17, 143 to Mount Compass 2 goals 2, 14. We have a look at the Premiership Table. We've got Wollonga in first position and Encounter Bay in second, both on 18 points, just separated by percentage. We've got my Ponga Selix third and Langhorne Creek fourth, both on 16 points. Once again, separated by percentage. And then in fifth spot, we've got McLaren Vale on 15. Then we've got sixth and seventh, which is Victor Harbor and Strathalbyn on 10 points each. So they're not too far away. And every game is going to be important for those guys to try and have a win. So, I wouldn't say that the final five is set there. There's still opportunity. But, a couple of the sides up top look like they probably are finals bound at this stage. Early call, could be wrong. Let's have a look at the goal kickers. Leading goal kicking at the moment is Blake Bailey from Encounter Bay on 25. Then you've got Ben Hutchinson from my Ponga Selix on 23 and a teammate Thomas Grundy from my Ponga Selix on 20. You've got Graydon Brand from Langhorne Creek on 22. Jacob McDonald from Wollonga and Braden Anderson from McLaren Vale both on 16. So there's no massive runaway leader of the goal kicking there. It's still pretty tight and it's up for grabs. So some interesting games this weekend in the fixture. You've got Encounter Bay playing Victor, which will be pretty interesting. You look, Mount Compass and Gould Port Elliot will be quite interesting. They'll both be fighting for a bit of a victory there. McLaren Vale versus Wollonga will also be a good clash. And Strath versus Langhorne Creek, that could also be a good clash. So pretty exciting games in the B grade. Once again, we'll let you know the results next week. So Senior Colt results from round 11 in the GSFL. Victor Harbor took on Gould Port Elliot. Gould Port Elliot 17 goals 13, 115 defeated Victor Harbor 1 goal 6. So that was a bit of a demolition job there. Strathalbyn took on Wollonga and the final score there was Strathalbyn 8 goals 7, 55 defeated Wollonga 8 goal 4, 52. So a pretty tight, exciting game, I'm sure, was at Strathalbyn Oval for the Senior Colts. The next game saw Langhorne Creek take on Encounter Bay, and Encounter Bay ran out victors there, 18 goals 16, 124 to Langhorne Creek 3 goals 18. So a pretty convincing win from Encounter Bay. McLaren Vale took on Yankalilla. McLaren Vale 11 goals 7, 73 to Yankalilla 8 goals 6, 54. So that was pretty close. And the last game was my Ponga Selix took on Mount Compass, and my Ponga 14 goals 7, 91 defeated Mount Compass 8 goal 3, 51. Just looking at the Premiership table, you've got Encounter Bay on top on 20 points. Second is my Ponga Selix on 18. And then there's a couple of sides tied for third and fourth, that being Gould Port Elliot on 16 and Wollonga on 16. You've got Strathalbyn on 14 and probably McLaren Vale on 10 and Yankalilla on 8. Could maybe get into the top 5. Then you've got Langon Creek on 6, Mount Compass on 2, and Victor Harbour on 0. But hopefully they can notch up a win and keep enjoying their footy for the rest of the season. The goal kickers in the Senior Colts, the leader at the moment is Dexter Kenny from my Ponga Selix on 37, followed by his teammate Josh Gerardo from my Ponga Selix on 29, Ryan Corby from Encounter Bay on 28, Dash Hawley from Yankalilla on 25, Zaid Edwards from Wollonga, and Archie Evans from Gould Port Elliot, both on 20. But once again, if I've got any of this wrong, just give us a buzz and we'll certainly fix that up, let you know next round. So, yeah, once again, some exciting footy coming up next round for the Senior Colts to see and shape the final 5 as we move into the last games of the season. Let's move on to the Fleurieu Milk Junior Colts results from round 11. And the first game was Victor Harbour took on Gould Port Elliot. And Gould Port Elliot ran out victors there 4-goal 5-29 to Victor Harbour 4-goal 3-27. So it would have been a pretty exciting final quarter in that game in the Junior Colts. Congratulations to both sides. And the next game, Strathalbyn took on Wollonga. And Wollonga defeated Strathalbyn 7-goal 5-47 to Strathalbyn 3-goal 7-25. If Strath had have kicked a little bit straighter, that would have been pretty close as well. Langon Creek took on Encounter Bay, and Encounter Bay won that game 8-goal 11-59, defeating Langon Creek 3-goal 3-21. The next game, McLaren Vale took on Yankalilla, and that was a bit of a blowout, unfortunately. We've got the score. Yankalilla only scored 1 point, and McLaren Vale scored 25-goal 12, 162. So, yeah, that was a very lopsided game. The last game was my Ponga took on Mount Compass, and once again, that was a pretty lopsided game. My Ponga Selix defeated Mount Compass 23 goals 12, 150, and unfortunately Mount Compass didn't hit the scoreboard. So I'm hoping that those sides that have had a bit of a rough trot can enjoy the rest of the season and maybe get a victory. So if we look at the Premiership table, we've got my Ponga on top on 20 points, Wollonga is second on 19 points, and Encounter Bay third on 18 points, Strathalbyn fourth on 14, and Victor Harbour fifth on 13. Gould Port Elliot are knocking on the door. They're sixth on 12. So the next team is McLaren on 8, and they could also possibly push into the top 5. But, yeah, it's pretty tight there from 4th through to 7th. So, once again, some exciting footy coming up on the weekend in the Fleurieu Milk Junior Colts competition. If we have a look at the goal kickers for the Junior Colts, we've got on top, I make it Cody Hines from my Ponga Selix on 48. So he's basically leading the competition. Second is Archer Price from Gould Port Elliot on 33. Levi D. Stringer from Victor Harbour on 28. And we've got Brock Grun from McLaren Vale on 27. And he kicked a bag of 10 on the weekend, so that certainly helped his goal kicking go up. And then we've got a couple of my Ponga Selix players, Jack Noble and Jake Holford, and I've got them on 22 and 21 respectively. So, yeah, it's a pretty tight tussle, but the guy out in front, Cody Hines, on 48, and he's pretty well done the same as Sam Basham in regards to he's kicked goals in every game, which for me is a great effort and shows a sign of great consistency. So congratulations to him. Welcome back. We're going to go through the women's competition, the FP Ag A-grade women from round 11 results. So the first game was Mount Compass took on Gould Port Elliot, and the final score was Gould Port Elliot defeated Mount Compass 3-5-23 to Mount Compass 3-2-20. So that was, only 3 points in. It would have been a pretty exciting tussle towards the end there. And then Yankalilla took on Strathalbyn, and the final score there was Yankalilla 4-5-29 defeated Strathalbyn 3-5-23. And, only 4 points in that game. So once again, a pretty exciting tussle towards the end. And then the last game was a bit of a blowout with Victor Harbour taking on Wollonga. And Wollonga ran out Victor's there, 14-10-94. So that's a pretty high score. And unfortunately, Victor Harbour didn't hit the scoreboard. So Wollonga were way too strong there. So if we have a look at the Premiership Table for the FP Ag A-grade women, we've got Wollonga on 17 points with a pretty healthy percentage of 729. And Gould Port Elliot a second on 14. McLaren Vale third on 12. And Strathalbyn a fourth on 10. Then we've got Compass and Yank fifth and sixth, both on 6, separated by percentage. And Victor Harbour on 1. So you'd say the top team is pretty well clear. Then it's pretty tight for second, third and fourth. So there'll be some interesting games coming up over the next few weeks, the same as what's happening in the men's league. So we'll move straight on to the girls under 17s, and we'll give you some scores there. McLaren Vale were to take on Gould Port Elliot, but I believe COVID unfortunately hit one of the teams there. So that was basically a 0-0 result. So there was only 2 games played in the under-17s. The first game to review, Yankalilla played Strathalbyn, and the final score there was Yankalilla 5-4-34, defeated Strathalbyn 4 points. And then the second game was another lopsided affair between Wollonga and Victor Harbour. Wollonga defeated Victor Harbour 11-9-75. To Victor Harbour, unfortunately, didn't hit the scoreboard. So once again, I hope that over the next few weeks that those girls in those sides that haven't hit the scoreboard can kick a few goals and enjoy their footy. If we look at the Premiership Table in the under-17s, we've got Wollonga out on top on 21, and their percentage is quite outrageous. 1,845.95 is their percentage, and the second side, Strath, is on 15 points, but their percentage is only 122.27. So, Wollonga are in front on percentage by about 16,000, which is just incredible. Yankalilla Tigers are third on 12 points. McLaren Vale Eagles are fourth on 8 points. Then we've got Victor Harbour on 6 points in fifth. Gould in sixth on 4 points, and Mount Compass in seventh they haven't had a win, so 0 points. Hopefully they can get a victory in the last few games of the season. You would have to say Wollonga are home and hosed on the Premiership Table there, so finals can always be a different story, but gee, they look looked pretty strong on 21 points, undefeated with the best percentage I've seen in a long time. Let's do some goal kicking. So we might as well stay on the under-17s women's comp. And Emma Charlton from Wollonga is on 24 and Emily Still from Wollonga is on 20. Mexi Marks from Yankalilla on 13. Abby Woodward from Wollonga on 10. Amelia Bilney from Yankalilla on 9. And Rafael Lombardozzi from Wollonga on 9. And in the A-grade goal kicking for the women, we've got Courtney Gum from Wollonga on 15. Sheena Peters from McLaren Vale on 14. Sally Fuller from McLaren Vale on 13. Tamara Page from Wollonga is on 12. Then we've got two girls on 11. One of them is Stella Renfrey PC from Wollonga, and the other one is Indy Miller from Strathalbyn. Now, just a quick shout out to one of the players in the Women's League over the weekend. She played in both games, and her name's Shay Archbold from Wollonga. She played under 17s and she kicked 4 goals in the under 17s, and then she proceeded to step up and play A grade. And in the A grade, she just kicked a lazy 6. So for her Sunday with footy, she's kicked 10 goals, which in 2 games, that's a fantastic effort. So congratulations to Shay Archbold from Wollonga for her goal kicking expertise on the weekend. All right, welcome to Dale Cuthbert, stalwart of the Gould Port Elliot Magpies Footy Club. Bit of a legend there. Has played around 250 games. Is that right, Dale?
Give or take, yeah. I think I'm not quite at the 250, but barring injury, should get there sometime this year, I hope.
Pretty close. And for me, probably one of the more courageous players I've seen in the GSFL. So hats off to you for that, for your longevity in the game as well, mate.
Thanks for the nice words, Cos.
So welcome to Fleurieu Footy Podcast, mate.
No worries. Thanks for having me.
That's all right. Look, I've got a couple of questions for you. And the first question is, obviously, you're coaching at the moment. You're coaching the Senior Colts.
Yeah.
How are you finding that? Are you going along okay with them?
Yeah, I'm loving it, actually. I was new to it last year. Last year was my first year with the boys, and this year we're travelling pretty well. So I'm really enjoying it. We've got a really good bunch of kids, and I think at the moment we're 8-3 and sitting third, but it's a pretty jam-packed top 5. It's pretty even comp in the Senior Colts this year, so we're tracking nicely. But I think anyone from those top 5 could really beat anybody on their day.
Yeah, look, I saw the Premiership Table, and I reckon you're sitting in 3rd spot.
Yeah, I think we're 3rd. We were 4th last week, but I think Wollonga got rolled by Strath, so that may have just pushed us up into 3rd. So
yeah.
But yeah, like I said, it's pretty tight. Getting Counter Bay and Pongi at the top 2, and then us, Wollonga and Strath all in that top 5 that are all pretty even.
Now, I know you did a little bit of coaching back in your day with the Senior Colts the year that they went top. What year was that, mate?
That was 2012. So we had...
So a while ago.
Yeah, earlier in the year we had the 10-year reunion for that, so that was good to catch up with a few of those lads again. So
it's been 10 years since you've done a coaching role?
I've helped out a bit throughout the time. So generally with the Senior Colts, when obviously in 2012 when Michael Kilsby was coaching back then, and then Popey did a couple of years where I helped him out as well.
Okay.
And then, yeah, only got involved again. Well, I did 1 year assistant for Fraser the year before I took over last year. So 2020 Fraser Cooper was doing it and I helped him out. And then last year I did it, and then again this year.
Okay. So I saw you played A grade on the weekend and you kicked a couple of goals, and you're obviously up and about a little bit. How's your playing career going? Because you've had a few nasty injuries along the way, which has probably put you back a bit. But as I said, that probably comes down to your courageous things that you do on the football field that others don't do. So How you going with your playing career?
My playing career is just hanging on. I'm not getting any younger, Cozzy. I probably am at the stage where I should be back down playing some B-grade footy and starting to enjoy my footy back there a bit. But the state that the club's in, we're probably struggling a bit on field, as most people would know. So we're still finding a spot in the A-grade most weeks, which probably just says where we're at.
Yeah, sure. But on the other hand, I look at it as it's probably exciting times for the club.
Yeah.
New club rooms, good group of young players coming through. You're just starting to see that in your senior Colts side with those junior Colts that went top a couple of years ago coming through the system. What's your thoughts on that? Is it 2 to 5 years away, or?
I probably wouldn't put a time frame on it. It can turn pretty quick. We do have a lot of good kids coming through. The competition's so strong. You need that top end talent to really get amongst it. And I think if we could add 4, 5, 6 real quality players and then the development of the kids, I think it can turn pretty quick. You can see that sort of with Victor this year.
Yeah.
I know round 18 last year, we played Victor and we beat them by some 12 or 13 goals. And they've added a few ex-locals back in this year and they've got a pretty young group and now they're knocking on the door of the 5. So you can see things turn around pretty quick. And we've had a lot of good kids come through over the last 2 or 3 years and we've got a lot of sort of that 15, 16, 17-year-olds that are the next wave that should hopefully hang around and play a lot of A-grade footy for the footy club. So that is exciting.
I find, and I watched it a bit, I've seen you play a couple of times, once on the TV and obviously once live. It's the physical contest because they're only young lads and they tend to get out-muscled at the stoppages and at the contest and you don't get first use of the footy. So I think that's the reason I said, is it a 2 to 5 year thing? But hey, if they keep possession of the ball and use their foot skills and run hard, then who knows what could happen.
Yeah.
All right, so you've probably got a lot because you've played a few games, but what would be your favourite football moment? Now, that can be as a spectator, a player or a coach.
My favourite football moment? To be honest, I'm hoping it's still to come.
That's a good answer, Dale. But I also want to know what your favourite footy moment is at the moment.
Most people that play footy obviously play for the ultimate prize, which is winning a flag. I haven't played in a flag, or I've been involved in obviously the 2012 one, but that was as an assistant coach. I'd love to obviously play in one or coach one, which would be fantastic. Yep. Probably the most memorable period of time was back in, I think it was 14 to 17. We had 4 years where we played consistent finals footy. We played finals 4 years in a row under Daniel Lees and Vinnie Rugolo when they were around the footy club. So that was probably my greatest highlight period of time. Also probably a disappointment where we couldn't quite get the ultimate. I thought we probably had a couple of chances probably in 14 and 15 and didn't quite make it. But that's probably the most enjoyable time of footy I've had playing wise.
Yeah, sure. Now, who do you support in the AFL?
I'm a Port man. Okay,
and how are you thinking they're going? They obviously had a victory on the weekend and it was pretty tight. I think Gold Coast are not a bad side. So
it was actually a pretty good game of footy to watch, that one. But no, I think Port are struggling. They probably had their chance last year and just missed out. And I think they're probably on the downward spiral in the next 2 or 3, but you never know.
Okay, so you said you're Port Power supporter. Yeah. The next question is, who's your favourite AFL/VFL player? Obviously doesn't have to be a Port Power player. Could be anybody in the league. Have you got a favourite that you probably inspired you, or?
Probably Luke Hodge is probably one that comes to mind that I've always enjoyed.
Similar sort of player, mate.
I'll take that. That's a fair compliment.
He was pretty courageous, mate. So
he was hard
and
and
a leader,
half back, and a pretty skillful user of the footy as well. So I always enjoyed watching him play. But other than that, I just enjoy watching footy. So it doesn't really matter who's playing as long as it's a good game of footy. I'm a bit of a footy nuffy. I'll watch most games, most weekends.
Sure. Now, what we'll do now is go into a quick quiz, mate. So just let me flick some pages on the computer and we'll get into your quiz questions.
No worries.
There's only 5 of them. They're not too hard, so hopefully you go all right.
We'll
Mitch
see.
Portlock got 3 out of 5, which wasn't too bad.
You set the bar.
You're all ready for it. You've got no Google or phone there.
Oh, I've got my phone here, but I'll put that down.
So, what year did Aussie rules become known as the Australian Football League or the AFL? And you would have been alive.
Yeah. Crows came in 91. I'm not sure if West Coast came in beforehand. I'll go with 91.
Okay, we'll move on to the next question, and it is, I played 43 games for Richmond Football Club, then moved to Collingwood, where I won the Coleman Medal, or the leading goal kicker. Who am I? I'm going to give you a clue.
What time?
I'm actually
decade?
I'm a commentator.
Brian Taylor.
All right, so we'll go to question 3. I probably shouldn't have given you a clue.
That's what I was thinking of. But
this team's longest-serving captain in 2005 was named All-Australian captain for the 2nd successive year. Who am I?
2005.
Now, remember, he was the longest-serving captain for his footy club.
At that time? Or
in 2005, yeah.
I'll say Nathan Buckley.
So we'll go to the next one. Which Adelaide player came 3rd in the 2016 Coleman Medal?
Eddie Betts.
And the next and last question, Dale, is VFL team Box Hill is the reserves team for which AFL club?
Hawthorn.
Okay, well done. So the first question, Aussie rules, you were out by 1 year. It was 1990.
Yeah, I thought it was that as soon as I said it.
And Brian Taylor was correct. I was going to say roaming, but I thought that would just give it to you straight away. The team's longest-serving captain in 2005, who was also named the All-Australian captain for the 2nd successive year, was Mark Rasciuto.
Okay, yep.
The Adelaide player 3rd in the Coleman Medal in 2016 was Eddie Betts, so you're correct. And the VFL team was Box Hill. Hawthorn is the correct answer, mate. So you've tied with Mitch, 3 out of 5. So there's no bragging rights yet. And we've got a few guests. We've got a few guests to come, so we'll see how 3 out of 5 holds up, mate.
Yeah, no, I'm happy with that.
Hey, look, I really appreciate you coming on the Fleurieu Footy podcast, and I wish you all the best for the rest of the year. And I'm sure we'll catch up at some stage.
Yep, too easy. We'll see you in a couple of weeks.
So really appreciate it, Dale. Good on you. Thanks for coming on, buddy.
No worries, mate. Thanks for having me.
It gives me great pleasure to welcome Max Barnes from the Strathalbyn Football Club to Fleurieu Footy Podcast. Welcome along, Max.
G'day, Steve. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
That's all right, mate. Now, you're a co-captain of the Strathalbyn Football Club B grade at the moment. How are you finding that?
Yeah, good. It's great club, good bunch of lads. We all look after each other and have each other's back. So it's really enjoying it this year.
Good. Now, how are you finding combining work, a new family, and footy, especially since you live in Goolwa?
It's a bit of a juggling act. Obviously, being self-employed, busy life as it is, and a young family. Pretty lucky, I think. I've got quite a patient wife who's quite happy for me to sort of not be home as much as I should probably with football. We're also very lucky. We've got plenty of family and friends that are willing to help out when they can. So it's a bit of a juggling act, but getting through it. It's good.
Now, you've played 130 plus games, and I see that you've been kicking a few goals over the last couple of games. What's the future hold for Max Barnes in regards to his footy?
Yeah, look, obviously I would love to get to my 150, which will be probably in the first half of the season next year, if my body will allow it. And look, I'd just like to keep playing football as long as I can. It's really just going to be having to take it week by week and, season by season. And, we're just going to have to keep going from there pretty much.
Okay, now you've had a few nasty injuries along the way, but you're still able to pull the boots on. What gives you that longevity and recovery to be able to play the footy?
I think big thing is time. You got to look after yourself when you do get injured. I had to have probably, I think it's nearly 4 seasons off due to a back injury through playing football. But it was a long 4 years. Definitely brought the hunger back to get back into football. I think obviously pre-season fitness and looking after yourself really goes a long way.
All right, so 130 plus games. You've obviously got a favourite football moment. What would that be? Can you share that with us?
Definitely. Look, my probably my all-time favourite football moment for me would be winning a premiership back. It would have been probably 2008 in Senior Colts. That's unfortunately we haven't got there yet in senior football, but touch wood, we'll get there in the upcoming seasons. But that's definitely a all-time highlight for me.
Okay, so do you follow the AFL, and if so, who do you support in the AFL?
Yes, definitely. I'm a Adelaide Crows supporter through and through. Have been ever since I could remember. Used to cop a bit of flack, obviously, growing up for a while in Victoria, playing for a couple of clubs over there, being the only Adelaide supporter out at trainings. But I've stuck through them back probably through their hard times, and I'll keep going. It's they're starting to play a bit better football, and every club goes through that stage. As you would know, being a Carlton supporter, you'll be having a pretty good year this year.
Now, obviously, Adelaide have had some good players. So who is your all-time favourite player? He doesn't have to be a Crow. It could be from anywhere. But have you got a favourite AFL player?
Look, he's a old Crows player. I just remember as a kid watching him sort of in awe. That'd be Nigel Smart. He's definitely up there for me, and it's just good memories of watching him as a kid playing footy.
Oh, what, walking over the hot coals? We went to a pre-season camp and they burn all these coals, and I think he walked over them and burned all his feet from it. So, that Nigel Smart wasn't that smart that night.
No, but obviously not that day.
Now, mate, what we'll do is we'll get on to our little quiz that we do for our guests. And I've got a few AFL questions in particular. There's about 5 of them, so we'll get into that if you don't mind.
Yeah, sure. See how I go.
So the first question is, who was the captain of Essendon in 1999? Was it James Hird, Tim Watson, or Matty Lloyd?
Would it be Matthew Lloyd? It's a bit of a guess for me.
Not. All right, well, we'll do that, and I'll go to the next question. Then we'll tally them up at the end. So question 2, what was the AFL known as prior to 1990?
Oh, yeah, I wouldn't know. That's before my time. I was a 91 kid, so I don't think I know that at all.
Okay, so question 3, which of the following players played for 4 AFL clubs during the 1990s? Sav Rocker, Tony Liberatore, Richard Osborne, or Alistair Lynch?
Again, this is going to be a bit of a guess for me, but probably going to go Lynch.
Okay. So question 4, who am I? I've won 3 Norm Smith medals for best on ground in a grand final.
Dustin Martin, I think.
And question number 5, who won the 1998 AFL Premiership?
1990, that'd be Adelaide Crows.
All right, so from what I get here, you've got 2 out of 5, which isn't too bad. So
That's
the
not too
first
bad.
one, the captain of Essendon in 1999 was James Hird.
Okay.
The AFL was known as the VFL
Right.
prior to 1990.
I should have known that.
Richard Osborne was the player that played for 4 clubs during the 1990s, those clubs being Fitzroy, the Bulldogs, the Swans and Collingwood. You got Dustin Martin right and you got Adelaide right. So not too bad. 2 out of 3 is pretty good, mate. It's better than nothing.
Yeah.
And a couple of the other guys have got 3, so you're around about the mark.
That's all right. All good.
So not a lot of people would know. You've got a little one who just turned 2 not long ago, but you've also got you and your wife, Jadie, you've got one expecting early September.
Yep, that's right.
So,
I think we are.
Yeah. Good luck with that. Combining that with footy, of course, is going to be a bit of a tough juggle, but I'm sure you're up to it, mate.
Yeah. It's going to be a bit of a learning curve, but I'm just lucky. Jadie loves coming watching football on the weekend, so fingers crossed it's all going to go smoothly.
Oh, excellent, mate. Now, look, I really appreciate you coming on board and having a chat with us on Fleurieu Footy Podcast. Good luck with the rest of the season, and I'm sure we'll catch up soon.
Don't stop. Watch out now. That